Hi, Right Writers. Cruz here. Thank you so much for joining me. In this video, we're going to construct a middle school paragraph looking at the disadvantages or cons or drawbacks or negatives. And our topic is soda. So in this video, again, if you're interested in learning how to create a standalone paragraph looking at the disadvantages of a particular topic, that's what this video is about, is basically taking it step by step and showing how to do this again on the topic of soda. And hopefully you'll be able to apply this to another topic. Again, Right Writers, thank you so much for joining me. Let's begin. All right, so we're going to take this particular chart, this table that we've created, and I'm going to hit Control C, and I'm going to copy it. And then, Right Writers, what we're going to do is, again, sort of create a standalone middle school paragraph on, again, the disadvantages of soda. Now, one of the things I want to be thinking about is if I'm talking about the negatives of something, I want to use transition words that, again, I'm focusing only on the disadvantages. So, and it's all on the same topic. The topic is, of course, soda. And so, because of that, I can use transition words that demonstrate, hey, I'm talking about the same idea, but I just don't want to use and over and over again, and this, and soda. And I can just give you a very quick example of what I mean, Right Writers, without actually typing it. So this is what just using and over again would sound like. Soda has many disadvantages. For example, it has a high sugar content, and it's like drinking calories, and you can gain weight, and it can cause tooth decay, and it can make your teeth rot, and it's not a natural beverage, and it does not hydrate you, and it can be expensive, and soda creates waste. That is not what you want to do. You want to show the reader, hey, I have a vocabulary. I have a pretty large vocabulary, and I'm showing you that by using words such as and, likewise, similarly, in addition, also, plus. So these are transition words that demonstrate that these are similar things, or, again, more ideas, more disadvantages about soda. But again, you're not using and is simply demonstrating that you lack the vocabulary and that you do not have in your vocabulary words like likewise, similarly, in addition, also, and plus. So let's use them in our writing, Right Writers, and demonstrate to readers that we do have a lot of background vocabulary when it comes to a synonym for the word and. All right, with that said, Right Writers, in my soapbox on that, when we're looking at the disadvantages of something, and in this case, we're making some pretty harsh comments about soda. So when we do this, in order to not be sound biased or one-sided, we're going to end up doing a little bit of research. And so I am going to open another tab so that we can look and do some research and find out, well, what is the typical sugar content for a can of soda? What is, how many calories does a can of soda have? This kind of thing, we can't really necessarily talk about gaining weight. We can talk about maybe tooth decay or teeth rotting, but and again, maybe not hydrating you, but we need to be more specific when it comes to, well, how much sugar are we talking about here? So we want to make sure we're providing some research, we're providing some facts, and not just like making stuff up. That's not good when you're writing about content and you have the time to look up the disadvantages of something. Again, you can decide to go vague, but if you do, you start to lose your readers because they don't trust you. They do not trust you. And so, in order to win over their trust, you need to do some background research. So, let's find out, what is the sugar content of a typical can of soda and how many calories are we talking about here? So, I'm going to go ahead and type in, let's say sugar, amount of sugar in a can of soda. And I'm just going to go blank, go very vague, not blank, but go vague as far as just a typical can of soda. Okay, so in looking at this, there are 39 grams of sugar in a 12-ounce Coca-Cola can. So is the same true for Pepsi? Okay, Pepsi, it's showing up as 39 grams. But we can, in order to be more even specific, we can say .org or .gov or .edu. And so this gives us more specific information because now we're looking at the Cleveland Clinic, and this is a health organization, and it's an organization, and it's not just a .com. So in this case, we can click on why it's time to start replacing your daily soda. So when I click on that link, it takes me to an article. Not only that, what's interesting is that this article was not written that long ago. It was written in July 15th, 2020, and it is by the Cleveland Clinic. So this is a health organization, and where it says why it's time to start replacing your daily soda, and it says replace sugary drinks with healthier beverages. So in this case, right, writers, I can sort of start to look at, okay, well, what about soda? How much sugar does it have? And so if I want to look at that, I can actually save myself some time, right, writers, by looking at my keyboard and clicking the CTRL button or the key, the control key, and the letter F. And if I do that, a little box pops up, and then I can type in sugar, and it will show me in the article where it talks about sugar. And in this case, it gets to some sugar, and that it's where it says, on average, one can of soda can have as much as 39 grams of sugar. And then it says, the American Heart Association recommends no more than 25 grams of sugar per day for women and no more than 36 grams of sugar per day for men. When you consume soda, you can easily cut it close to your daily sugar recommendations or even go overboard. Okay, so if I wanted to use this, right, writers, I can go ahead and copy and paste this. So I'm going to hit my Control C. Then I'm going back to my chart, my table, and I'm going to go ahead and put Control V. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to include my web link. So Control C, and then I'm going to place that right underneath it, Control V, because this provides the source of information where I retrieved this information. And so again, it's really the Cleveland Clinic, and that's who's saying this. And so I can even make it a point, the Cleveland Clinic website. And because, again, I'm copying and pasting it, I can go ahead and put quotation marks around it to, again, include in my disadvantages. I also wanted to see if they had something about calories. So I was somewhere down here. So now I'm going to go to the last one, and then it says sugar bad for your heart. And so now I'm going to go ahead and go to the top. And I'm going to, instead of have sugar, I'm going to say calories instead. And in this case, it does have one mention of calories, and it says, not only that, but one study suggests that diet soda may change how your brain reacts to cravings for food high in calories. Okay, well, this is talking about diet soda, and I was specifically talking about calories in a soda. So in this case, I'm sort of done with this particular website because it's given me what I wanted, and I don't have to sit here and read the entire article to get what it is that I want. Now I'm going to go ahead and X out of that. And now, right, writers, I'm going to go ahead and open up a new tab. And then I'm going to type in soda, can of soda and calories and .org, and then see what comes up. So in this case, I am given from this medlineplus.gov, which is in this case an encyclopedia, a National Library of Medicine. In this case, that's great. So I'm just going to scroll down to see where this is from. And this is from basically healthcare provider, and they're out of Maryland, National Library of Medicine. They're associated with the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the National Institutes of Health. So now scrolling back up, it actually gives me the calories of soda and energy drinks. So in this case, an average can of soda here, 12 ounces, they go through and, you can see things like root beer, 180 calories, 160 calories, ginger ale, 135 calories. We've got 150, 140. So 150 for Dr. Pepper, 160 for Fanta. We've got 170 calories for Mountain Dew. Wow, this is interesting. Orange Crush has 195 calories. Sprite, 140. Wild Cherry Pepsi, 160. So, basically, so it looks like if I had to go from the lows to the highs, it looks like the lowest amount of calories is 135 calories right here with ginger ale, all the way up to, in this case, Orange Crush of 195 calories. So with that in mind, right, writers, I'm going to go ahead and put that down. So I'm going to copy this website, Control C. I'm going to put Control V here. And I know this is coming from the National Library of Medicine. So I'm going to put that down. And I'm going to go ahead and put down that, that calories can be anywhere. So as low as 130 calories to as much as 195 calories. And this is, basically like a 12-ounce can of soda. And again, notice how I've given where I got this information from, the National Library of Medicine. I have the website. And in this case, I don't really have to give quotation marks. In this case, I can just reference it within my paragraph by mentioning the National Library of Medicine. And then, of course, again, I have other ideas of, not hydrating. It's expensive. It creates waste, and it can cause tooth decay or tooth rot. Again, I may decide to take that out, and I'm sort of back here with the energy drinks. But I'm definitely going to go ahead and X out of this. And now, right, writers, I feel like I have more information, more facts to write a pretty decent middle school paragraph focusing on the disadvantages of soda. And let's go ahead and begin, right, writers, now that we've done some research on the topic. And so here we go. And we'll start with an introduction sentence. So again, super basic. Soda has several disadvantages for consumers. And in this case, now I can start to use what I've learned and put that into my paragraph. Not only does it have a lot of sugar, but it also has empty calories. And again, I'm thinking of, again, 130 to 195 calories. So thinking about that, not only does it have a lot of sugar, but it also has empty calories. For example, and again, right, writers, depending on how you want your paragraph, how large you want it to be, you can, maybe just stop at the high sugar and drinking calories, and then maybe going into, gaining weight from it. And that could be your paragraph on disadvantages on soda. And that's okay. That's probably enough. Soda has several disadvantages for consumers. Not only does it have a lot of sugar, but it also has empty calories. For example, or I can say, according to the Cleveland Clinic, and in this case, I think I could probably put the here lowercase. According to the Cleveland Clinic, I may not decide to have all of this. I may decide, just right, writers, to take that first sentence. So I'm going to borrow that. According to the Cleveland Clinic's website, and then I can go ahead and put, on average, one can of soda can have as much as 39 grams of sugar. And again, thinking about, the American Heart Association, that we're supposed to only have 25 grams for women and 36 for men, that's definitely, basically what it's saying is one can of soda takes up your whole sugar for the entire day. So not only does it have a lot of sugar, but it also has empty calories. According to the Cleveland Clinic's website, on average, one can of soda can have as much as 39 grams of sugar. That number is more than the amount of sugar we should consume each day. And let's take a look at that, right, writers? Soda has several disadvantages for consumers. Not only does it have a lot of sugar, but it also has empty calories. According to the Cleveland Clinic's website, on average, one can of soda can have as much as 39 grams of sugar. That number is more than the amount of sugar we should consume each day. And let me be more specific by saying something like that one can of soda, that one can represents more than the amount of sugar we should consume each day. In other words, or therefore, I'm going to go ahead with in other words. In other words, that one can has really, you could say, has all the sugar that we should consume each day. In other words, that one can has or contains. And again, thinking about how we want to word this, right, writers? In this case, soda has several disadvantages. All right, let's take it from the top, right, writers, and think about how this is sounding. Soda has several disadvantages for consumers. Not only does it have a lot of sugar, but it also has empty calories. According to the Cleveland Clinic's website, on average, one can of soda can have as much as 39 grams of sugar. In other words, I have it. In other words, I'm going to change this up, right, writers? In other words, right, writers, I'm going to change this up here. In other words, you just drank all the sugar that you are, in other words, you just drank all the sugar that you are supposed to have in one day in one can of soda. And let's see how that sounds, right, writers? I have one a lot, and that is bothersome to me. Soda has several disadvantages for consumers. Not only does it have a lot of sugar, but it also has empty calories. According to the Cleveland Clinic's website, that's tough to say, Cleveland Clinic. According to the Cleveland Clinic's website, on average, one can of soda can have as much as 39 grams of sugar. In other words, you just drank all the sugar that you are supposed to have in one day in that one can of soda. I like that, right, writers. I think I again I'm overusing the one, but I think it makes sense and I think it works. And so I want to make sure that I use it. And so I'm keeping it. I'm keeping where this is right now. And all I'm doing right now, right, writers, is adjusting the font. It's just looking a little bit weird, and sometimes it'll happen when you copy and paste information. And watch out for that, right, writers, especially when you're submitting something. Sometimes it's just easier to type it out rather than copying and pasting it. So let's go ahead and continue. Middle school students, especially as we start to sort of wrap this up, because again, I'm thinking that because you've taken the time to do some research, I think just focusing on the disadvantages of the high sugar content and drinking calories is really good. And we can talk about that in the paragraph. So let's go to the next one about, again, empty calories. So moving on and saying the National Library of Medicine shows that soda, the National Library of Medicine shows that soda contains anywhere from 130 to 195 calories per can. Therefore, you are drinking calories. Therefore, another drawback is that you are drinking calories without maybe just saying without even realizing it. Because a lot of times, we don't really notice that, oh, I drink a can of soda a day, but we're not really thinking about how many calories it has, right, writers? So that's just something else to kind of think about, that we're kind of drinking these calories and not really realizing and recognizing that, oh, this has calories. We're drinking it almost as if it was water, but water does not have any calories, whereas soda does. So let's take a look at where we are, right, writers, from the top. And again, I like how we are using some research, and I think that strengthens your writing and it offers more facts for the reader. Soda has several disadvantages for consumers. Not only does it have a lot of sugar, but it also has empty calories. According to the Cleveland Clinic's website, on average, one can of soda can have as much as 39 grams of sugar. In other words, you just drank all the sugar that you are supposed to have in one day in that one can of soda. The National Library of Medicine shows that soda contains anywhere from 130 to 195 calories per can. Therefore, another drawback is that you are drinking empty calories without even realizing it. Okay, so right, writers, this is looking pretty good for a middle school paragraph. I'm just scrolling down my table, and so I can go ahead and maybe just bringing out that it's not hydrating, it's not a natural beverage, and that you're basically going to gain weight. So I'm going to go ahead and use these particular ones here. And I'm not going to focus on tooth decay and tooth rot. It just doesn't make sense with what we're going with. I'm not going to bring in burping and belching, creating waste, expensive and costly. It's just not going with what we're talking about. So I'm going to focus on these last three items, and that way we can start to wrap up our paragraph. So again, using those: gaining weight, not a natural beverage, and it does not provide hydration. So let's say, therefore, another drawback is that you are drinking empty calories without even realizing it. In other words, gaining weight. In other words, you are gaining weight. And I've essentially said gaining weight. And now I can go into the not a natural beverage, and it does not hydrate you. So thinking about maybe these two and how I can bring them in. In addition, because soda is not a natural beverage such as water, it does not hydrate our bodies the way water does. And instead of this, I may put like water. It just sounds, normally I like such as, but it doesn't work. I think I'm going to say because, and I'm taking that back out. Thus, soda has many drawbacks and consumer drawbacks. Okay, right, writers, middle school paragraph. Let's take it from the top. Middle school paragraph looking at disadvantages with some research involved. Let's take a look. Taking it from the top, right, writers. Soda has several disadvantages for consumers. Not only does it have a lot of sugar, but it also has empty calories. According to the Cleveland Clinic's website, on average, 1 can of soda can have as much as 39 grams of sugar. In other words, you just drank all the sugar that you are supposed to have in one day in that 1 can of soda. I'm going to go ahead and put a pause here, right, writers? The dazzling dash in one day in that 1 can of soda. The National Library of Medicine reports, shows, and maybe I'll say also, the National Library of Medicine reports that soda contains anywhere from 130 to 195 calories per can. Therefore, another drawback is that you are drinking empty calories without even realizing it. In other words, you are gaining weight. Because soda is not a natural beverage like water, it does not hydrate our bodies the way water does. Thus, soda has many consumer disadvantages. Because I used drawbacks earlier, I'm going to go ahead and go back to advantages. All right, right, writers, I'm feeling pretty good about what we've created here for middle school. And again, I'm really proud of us for putting in some research and adding that into the paragraph. And I think that that really works with what we're trying to make here. Again, notice how I put quotation marks, but then where I didn't have quotations, I let the reader know where that information came from. And again, right, writers, I go ahead and keep the websites because I can always include them at the end of my paper if I happen to do, let's say, a works cited page, or if my teacher wants me to cite my sources, I can have, a sources links or links to my sources so that, again, people are able to access where I got the information from. So one more time, right, writers, here we go. Soda has several disadvantages for consumers. Not only does it have a lot of sugar, but it also has empty calories. According to the Cleveland Clinic's website, on average, 1 can of soda can have as much as 39 grams of sugar. In other words, you just drank all the sugar that you're supposed to have in one day in that 1 can of soda. Also, the National Library of Medicine reports that soda contains anywhere from 130 to 195 calories per can. Therefore, another drawback is that you are drinking empty calories without even realizing it. In other words, you are gaining weight. Because soda is not a natural beverage like water, it does not hydrate our bodies the way water does. Thus, soda has many consumer disadvantages. And I use thus instead of, let's say, hence, or again, you could use therefore, but I already used therefore up here. And so again, that's why I kept with the thus. If, right, writers, you prefer hence, soda has many consumer advantages, go for it. So again, we're sort of creating this sort of cause and effect. And again, I don't want to use hence, or I do not want to use therefore because I just used it up here, right, writers? So if you're looking for a different transition word, hence and thus mean the same thing as therefore. You could also use indeed, but we're going to go with, I'm just going to go ahead and change it up a little bit. And instead of having thus, I'm going to put hence, soda has many consumer disadvantages. And again, right, writers, feel free to change it if you do not like it. Again, this is just demonstrating how to create a paragraph, how to create a pros and cons paragraph, and in this case, specifically how to create a middle school paragraph focusing on the topic of soda and focusing on soda's disadvantages. including some research. All right, Right Writers, thank you so much for watching this video. Stay tuned. In our next video, we're going to level up this middle school paragraph to an upper level paragraph by adding just a bit more detail and information. Thank you so much, Right Writers. Take care. Bye-bye.